Yeah, star struck. We gon' heat it up. We gon' heat it up. We gon' heat it up. Now I'm walking on this hot concrete, looking for respect. Sun on my neck, trying to catch another check. Now I'm working through this hot summer with the cold heart. Working through this hot summer with the cold heart. Working through this hot summer with the cold heart. Working through this hot summer, yeah. Burning up my feet to the beat when we hit the streets. Always on repeat, never.
What's up? We're back. Another episode of the Jaron Ikner Show. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. Couldn't go live on Facebook. I don't know why I was tripping, but you know, that is what it is. But if you're watching this, follow, like, share. We have a lot of topics we're going to talk about today, but I'm trying to be more consistent. I know last episode I was like, oh, I'm not consistent enough. But it's a lot of it had to do with the fact that I have to fall into patterns. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a very pattern-based type of person. And my kid's back in school now. And life is just kind of falling into a pattern now. So it's like, cool. I can kind of set aside time. So I'm not making any promises. It's not something I do. But you might be getting consistent episodes maybe every Wednesday morning around this time. Don't set it in stone. You know how I am. Make sure this sounds good here. But yeah, I think I might be able to fall into a little pattern for the next few weeks to give you an episode of the Jaron Ikner Show every week for the foreseeable future. We'll see. No promises made. But we're going to try and get right into this. We got plenty to talk about today. A lot of topics on the agenda. First up, as you could probably see by the title of the episode, we're going to talk about the Sweeney chick and the Sweeney effect. And the thing about this is that this is something that is a crux for America. Maybe just men in general, where the whole thing makes me think about the young white avatar episode from Atlanta. So it makes you think about, in the sense that like there's always gonna be like some type of young female scapegoat for the powers that be to attach their agenda to, whether that person wants to be a part of it or not. So what am I talking about? Of course, there's the whole American Eagle thing with Sweeney and her jeans. American Eagle is apparently taking a big hit on their stock, and their traffic in their stores are down, and people are protesting in front of their stores and stuff, all because this girl did a jean ad. And a lot of the energy is being pointed towards Sweeney because she is the person on the ad, but obviously she didn't make the ad. She didn't write the copy. But in case you're not in the loop, essentially what's happening is that this ad of her in her pair of jeans has the tag Sweeney has a good pair of jeans. And if you don't know the phenomenon that is Sweeney right now, and then I guess you're out the loop. Honestly, I think she's a little bit overrated. I understand the hype, but I think she's a little bit overexposed right now, especially when you're seeing her pop up at Jeff Bezos' wedding and rumored that she's dating Tom Brady. Like, I can't escape this girl right now. She's all over the place constantly. She got her break in the show Euphoria, which is like a highly sexualized, highly drug-filled show. I think she gets naked in that show, too. I don't know how to remember, but she's not afraid to hide her sexuality, and she's very just like out here free-spirited. But the powers that be have basically kind of co-opted her, even though, I mean, there's a lot to kind of dig into this. This is why I'm calling it the Sweeney effect, because she's apparently registered as a Republican. And apparently her family's like hella MAGA, but she's never come out and been like, I'm MAGA, I'm Republican, even though she's registered Republican. But the Republicans and the power that bees, Trump, all these people are just like, oh, we're going to make this our new young white avatar, basically, for our agenda. So flash forward to this ad, right? Also, not even just the ad, it's the events that have happened over the last several months with this girl, particularly her showing up at Jeff Bezos' wedding. I thought was super weird because of the fact that age range, you know, Jeff Bezos is like 55, I think, something like that. And most of the people that were at his wedding, from, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio or whoever, Tom Brady, all these people that were at the wedding, make sense on paper. Like, it makes sense on paper to where it's like, yeah, you know, it makes sense that you would be there because, you know, you're rich and you guys probably hang out. But Sweeney was just there for the photo op. And there's even like a photo where she's just staring dead at the camera, like, I am here for the photo op. I'll probably put it up on the actual replay. I don't have time to dig it up right now, but literally she is just like in really weird rich people oligarchy scenarios, and they're kind of using her as like this weird template because she is blonde hair, blue eyed, and she is all American, born somewhere in like middle America. And so the thing about it with the young white avatar thing is the fact that they're basically using her to communicate to the younger generation. Like I said, even if she doesn't want to or not, they're still using her to like kind of co-opt to the younger generation with the whole jeans ad and all that stuff, because young men, particularly people in her age range and younger, are lost right now. These kids are basically feeling lonely, dealing with depression. They're horny, but they don't have any outlets, and you see society kind of collapsing right now. And so someone like Sydney Sweeney is like someone that you swoon over. But this is something that's common where like I think about when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, and I was thinking about Jennifer Love Hewitt and Eliza Dushku and all this stuff. Now, there wasn't any political edge to them at all. Like if Eliza Dushku did a jean ad in 1998 or 99 or whatever, the same exact ad, there'd be no smoke. And that's a large part of it too, because the media likes to take a hold of things and make it a lot bigger than it needs to be. And we know this is a major problem. We know this is something that we deal with all the time. And so we know that when it comes to like this whole crap that we're dealing with Sydney Sweeney and how they're marketing it, the whole idea is to cause disrest and distractions, because the big elephant in the room is the Epstein list and the whole thing. And I don't even really want to say his name because I'm pretty sure my last live got like kicked down because I said that. And this one probably will because I just said it already. But the distractions are real. Right now you got Trump literally taking over the entire city of Washington, D.C. with the National Guard, under the guise of, oh, hey, we're going to get rid of the homeless people and stop the crime and stop these teenagers running around with guns and all kinds of stuff. And it's like, cool. What about that list, though? What about that list? So the Sydney Sweeney thing is just, like I said, it's an effect. It's a way to like distract people and like kind of divert them from like the real issues that need to be talked about. And like I said, unfortunately, Sydney Sweeney, whether she's down or not, is just a part of the ride. She can't do shit about this. She could come out and make a statement. That's only gonna make it worse. She could go do whatever. It won't matter. And what's funny is I think like after all this controversy hit, like a photo came out with her hanging out with Hunter Schafer and Maude Apatow at the club singing karaoke. And as you know, Hunter Schafer is trans. And Maude Apatow, at least generally speaking, is she's Jewish, and then she's also kind of like from the liberal side of things. So it's kind of like when you look at the actual optics of Sydney Sweeney and the life that she's living, like I'm pretty sure that it doesn't align with like how they're portraying her, and it's kind of messed up. But the whole guise is to get people to like, oh no, oh my god, she's so pretty. But honestly, she alright, she cool. I think she's attractive, but like she's not blowing my mind. And but the thing about it is that she is sexually facing. She's just forward facing. She got her boobs out. She talks about them, and people like that, especially guys. And so the Republicans are like, yeah, Sydney Sweeney, that's our girl, and she's just over here chilling, making Euphoria money. It's crazy to me. But I would love to know what you guys think. If you guys are watching this video, like, follow, share. We got plenty more topics to talk about. I just want to kick that off with a little bit of political unrest, because it's always fun to start with political unrest. That's how we get the show started. But up next, we're going to talk about this Kanye, Cudi, Virgil situation. So if you go to my YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, the clip's up right now. I just posted a clip from Kid Cudi's latest interview. He actually is on a rollout right now. He's dropping his new album, Free, and then also he's dropped a memoir talking about his life. And basically, he was asked about his relationship with Kanye West, and basically he was just like, I don't fuck with Kanye. I really don't. And most of it, based off of the clip that I had and what he said in the interview, had to do with the comments that Kanye West made about Virgil, which he made some pretty effed up comments. If you know the history, I'm not even gonna get into it, but he said some pretty messed up shit about this man. He said a lot of messed up stuff about a lot of people, and it's actually a little bit admirable for Cudi to come out and say that in public forum, because that was always the elephant in the room conversation, because Kanye did publicly attack Cudi. He did publicly attack Virgil. He did publicly attack all these people and say some really messed up crap about them. And the thing about Cudi and Kanye, and Cudi says this himself in this interview where he's like, Kanye is responsible, at least in part, for my success. I wouldn't be here without him. But it's hard to really support someone who says and feels that way about someone else in that way. And this is something that I've dealt with a lot, because as some of you guys know, if you guys are fans of me or not, and you watch my career, I was a massive Kanye West fan. I was a Kanye like apostle, basically, in the sense that I really appreciated what he was doing for music at the time. But when you're out here hurting people and you're out here saying things that are destructive and causing unrest in just weird ways, and from him, his whole angle would be like, oh well, you know, I do it for the art or whatever crap he's gonna say. It's like, yeah, I feel you, but the problem is that sometimes the things you say can have irreparable damage, and you're seeing that happen with Kid Cudi. You're seeing the irreparable damage of someone of his caliber and his voice and his influence saying things that have just messed up implications or messed up things behind it that could really just like rock someone's life. Basically what Kanye said about Virgil. And like I said, I'm not going to talk about what he said because he said some pretty jacked up stuff, and I'm pretty sure if I quoted him, we might get demonetized. So he ain't trying to do that. But you guys can go look it up. There's plenty of articles about it, plenty of stuff that was said about him. And the thing about it is, like, when it comes to Kid Cudi, his career has always been interesting to me. One, a lot of people compare me to Kid Cudi. They're like, oh, you sound like Kid Cudi. Your beats are similar. And I have a story that I tell people all the time about how basically Kid Cudi stole my slot on Good Music, because when Kanye came to Tucson, I missed him by like 10 minutes because my friend had to take a dump, essentially. And so we had to leave. And then Kanye came and went down to Tucson, or went down to Club Congress. No one was there. And he bought out the bar and was there all night partying, et cetera, so forth. And if I was there, I probably could have like, you know, got a little relationship going in there with him. But 2 weeks later, he signed Kid Cudi. So it was kind of like, but I digress. When it comes to Kid Cudi's career, it's always been interesting to watch because of the fact that his journey has always been an honest one. And I think that's what I appreciate the most about Kid Cudi, is that he's always been pretty transparent in terms of what he's been going through. Although he did just announce that he got married, and that came out of nowhere. He just like popped out with this album like, yo, I'm married. And it's like, oh, cool, you're married. But I digress. The point is that when it comes to Kid Cudi, a lot of the stuff that he does is extremely honest and extremely just like genuine, and from a place that's like, I really appreciate as an artist, because I always feel like if you're going to be doing this artist shit, you need to be putting your all into it. You need to be putting your heart into it, your soul into it. You got to be putting all this energy into it to make sure that it really is what you want to do. You can't half-ass it. You really can't. It's not like working a job at McDonald's or working at like the mall where you can just like phone in. If you're an artist, you got to put your everything into it. Your blood, sweat, tears, all of that into it wholeheartedly. And that's hard to do. But I feel like Kid Cudi is actually one of the few artists out there who does that. 100%. Like, no question. He like puts his all into everything that he does. And it's always appreciated. Now, I don't always like his stuff. Actually, I would say I actually don't like most of his stuff at this point, because he's put out several projects that I'm just like, eh. But I always do appreciate the effort. I always appreciate what Kid Cudi is trying to do with his music, what he's trying to do with his artistry. And it's always something that I'm like, you do that. So yeah, he has his book coming out. He has his new album dropping. I wasn't a big fan of the single. The single felt very popish, which at the end of the day, Kid Cudi is basically has evolved into a pop star. I wouldn't call Kid Cudi like a pure rapper at this point. That actually probably happened after his first album, second album, to where like I wouldn't call Kid Cudi a rapper. He's definitely like a pop rapper at the very minimum, but he's basically a pop star. Especially if you look at his singles, you know, like Pursuit of Happiness and Memories and stuff like that. These are pop songs. These aren't rap songs. He's not spitting bars. He's singing. And so his new single has that same type of tone, like that same popish energy, which is fine. I get it. Get your money, but it's just not for me. I will be checking out the album. I don't know if I'm going to read the book. Maybe there's an audio book. I might listen to it, but we don't be reading no more. We don't be reading no books, but I'm just playing. But Like I said, I always appreciate Kid Cudi when he goes and puts himself out there in a way that's like super genuine and super pure and super just like, yeah, I always rock with that. So make sure you go check out that full interview because I think he says a lot of cool stuff in that interview. I gave it a listen when I was trying to find the clip about Kanye. And he says a lot of cool stuff that I think would be enlightening. He talks about his cocaine addiction, talks about like his marriage, talks about a lot of stuff that's like, oh, I did not know that. And it's really like kind of cool to listen to. With that said, I think that Kid Cudi hopefully is one of those artists that has like a very long career ahead of him. I think there was a point in time where I was like not sure if he would like last into like the era that we're in now, where it's just like kind of like pop status type shit. That's basically what you have to be. If you're like a rapper my age or older, you're not gonna get in on the grimy street shit. You're just not. If you're trying to like really pursue it, you got to kind of switch lanes and go kind of contemporary. And think about your audience and think about like what you're really trying to do with it. And that could be scary for a lot of people. Like even like when I made this single that's out right now, Hot Summer Cool Heart, that was the intro song to this video, but there's a video coming out and all kinds of stuff. I wanted to make something that was like a little bit more contemporary because I was like, I could sit here and bar it up and talk about the streets and grimy and flipping packs and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, it's like, who's my audience on this? I think that most people crave that, but at the same time, a lot of people don't. Some people just want background music. Some people just want something to listen to. Especially when you're my age, you got a lot going on in your life. You're not going to sit here and be all super analytical because like, even like music from Lupe Fiasco, for example, like Lupe Fiasco is one of my favorite artists. Easily one of my favorite artists. But the thing is that I don't always have the bandwidth to listen to Lupe Fiasco's music. Like when he drops a new song, I'm like, I might need to like get in the mode to listen to that. Like back in the day when I was younger, it was definitely just like, okay, cool, let's listen to it. It dropped. Like, new Lupe Fiasco, I'm dropping everything and I'm listening to it and I'm pondering and I'm listening to the bars and I'm like, yeah, tight, dope, etc., etc. Like, I could do that, but as I get older, I don't have time to ponder it. Like, so for like a Lupe Fiasco album, I'll probably save that for a long drive. Like I do with my podcast. Like with my podcast, I listen to my podcast like when I'm out driving like for hours. Like if I'm going to Tucson or something like that, I'm going to be gone for a while. I'm firing up the podcast because I'm actually an active listener. And that's when I'm actually listening to what you have to say. I'm listening for the entendres. I'm listening for the clever bars. I'm listening for all that shit. I'm not listening to it like when you drop it necessarily because I'm doing stuff. I'm busy. I'm doing stuff. And that is just something that I noticed as I got older and older to where it's like, I don't check for new music as much anymore unless it's just like undeniably avoidable. Like even like when the clips drop, I didn't listen to it immediately when it came out like I used to. I listened to it like 2 days later. I was just chilling, like I listened to this Clips album. And I think that's something that older people kind of do. I think younger people, they crave that new music a lot more than what older people do because older people like to simmer on it a lot more. They like to kind of ponder on it, like to think about the bars and the production and all that stuff a lot more. Especially if you're in the industry and you're listening for like more than just like entertainment purposes, you might be studying it as well. And so I like to put myself in conditions where I can actually like sit down, listen and study the music and be like, yeah, this is good. This is good. I like this. I like this. I like this. So when it comes to Kid Cudi's music, like I understand like the switch to the contemporary sound because I think that it's a lot more digestible in a short period of time. Like if you're trying to go for numbers, if you're trying to go for marketing, et cetera, so forth. But on the back end, it's like, well, will people listen to the song 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Or will people listen to it on a long drive more than once besides just checking it out? And that's the kind of things you got to think about when it comes to making music. It's like, do you want something for the now or do you want something forever? The thing about making stuff for forever is that when you make music for forever, it doesn't necessarily resonate immediately. It might take some time. It might have to do some pushing on it. It might have to hit a couple ears. It might have to like get like some sync licensing and be on a movie soundtrack. That's what happened with MIA and Paper Planes is that like that song was out for a bit and then it ended up being on the Pineapple Express trailer and it blew up. Right. And so that's like a timeless generational song to where you put that song on right now. And it's like your mind goes back to a certain time period. The vibes are there. They're locked in. And that's an iconic song. But it took a second for it to like kind of catch. Versus making that instant hit. Like I think about that What the Helly song, the What the Hell, What the Helly. That's an instant hit. but it's not a classic. It's not going to stand the test of time. It's a viral sensation. There's a difference. And so you can make viral hits, right? Like you can go make a pop song that goes viral real quick and maybe gets a bunch of TikToks and maybe a dance behind it and then kind of pivot from there. Or you can make something that's like, hey, I really think this is going to go the distance. And so then you treat it as such. And so it'll be really interesting to see what Kid Cudi does with his album. Like I said before, like I want to see how deep he goes with it, with all this crap he has going on in his world. But moving on, the next topic I want to talk about are all these motherfucking superhero movies, dog. I was on Threads, and I'm gonna show you all this thread real quick. I'll put it up on the screen on the replay. But if you look at this thread that I just made a post about Superman's box office sales, and y'all went crazy on it. This is on my Threads. Sorry, I gotta scroll down a little bit here. This has 5,000 views right now, right? But the thing about it is that it has so many comments. It has 89 comments. You guys telling me how wrong I am about this movie. And basically what I was saying is the idea that I thought this movie wasn't going to crack 600 million. It still might not. It probably will. It probably will land somewhere like 620 at this point, at the rate it's going. But the whole superhero movie genre right now is kind of cooked. And people will argue with me with this, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Superman should have did $1 billion. Superman is, we're talking about Superman. He's probably at this point the third most popular superhero franchise in the world. That's behind Spider-Man and Batman. And then maybe Avengers. But I would say, like, in terms of like longevity, overall IP, I'm putting Superman over Avengers. Superman's been around since 1920 or whatever the fuck, right? Superman's been around for a minute. And he's basically like America's hero. But I think a lot of it too, when I think about Superman's success or lack thereof, I think about what has happened between Man of Steel and this movie in terms of like how the public perception has changed. And James Gunn is partially responsible for that because he gave us Brightburn. Now, if you've seen Brightburn, that movie is essentially just like a Superman movie, but it's about a kid. So basically, like, it's the story of Brightburn is like if Superman landed on the farm, but was like evil and never left the farm and it was like fucking up his family. It's a horror movie, but it's a Superman horror movie. James Gunn wrote that, or he did something with it. And then you also have, you know, Omni-Man from Invincible, which is another Superman trope where it's just like, I'm here to colonize your planet. And then you have Homelander, which is like the trope of like, well, I'm so powerful, you guys can't fuck with me. And so you have all these like subverted Superman tropes that are like basically like crushing the hype behind this Superman movie to where there's like a bit of fatigue behind it. Now, the movie's fine. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's pretty good. And I like what James Gunn is doing. But like I said, this movie should have did $1 billion. It should have did $1 billion, bro. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that if you look at the competition, which would be Spider-Man and would be Avengers and would be Batman, they're going to do $1 billion, or damn near close to $1 billion. How much did the last Batman movie make? I think it made damn near $1 billion. Let me look this up real quick. We're live right now, but we'll do this right now. How much did the last Batman movie make? It made $770 million. So we'll round it up to 8. It made $800 million, dog. That's $200 million more than Superman. And that's crazy to me because, like I said, like I feel like Superman should be in that same range. I feel like Fantastic Four should be doing a little bit better too. I feel like the Thunderbolts, which was actually a good movie, should have did a lot better than what it did. And so what we're seeing is superhero fatigue, but honestly, it's not even superhero fatigue. It's the lack of telling great stories for so long caused this problem. And what I'm referring to is like when Marvel went on that run where they dropped like the Marvels and Quantumania and Multiverse of Madness and a few other things that were just kind of like mid. That's where you fail because you can't expect a mid superhero movie to do well. Because superhero movies they're supposed to be fantastical. They're supposed to be amazing. It's supposed to be mind blowing. It's supposed to be a spectacle, a ride, and they should have to always pretty much be an 8 out of 10 or higher. If they're not, it's a flop. Like Superman for me comes in like at about like a 7.5, maybe an 8 if I watch it again and look for the 8. But it's coming in at a 7.5. Fantastic Four, like same thing, like a 7.5. Thunderbolts was like an 8.5, pretty good movie. But it was like an unknown cast. No one knew who these niggas were. No one knew who the Thunderbolts were. Right? So, and even if like as a casual, which is, I always think about the casuals are like my wife, for example. My wife does not give a fuck about any superhero movies, any comic book lore, anything, etc., so forth. She's going basically because I want to go and she wants to spend time. But with that said, she enjoyed Deadpool versus Wolverine. She liked that movie. And guess what? That movie did $1 billion. Do I think that she'll like Fantastic Four when we finally see it? We didn't go see it yet. I mean, I've seen it, but I haven't seen it with her. I think she might enjoy it, but I think she might also be like, meh. Like, she enjoyed Deadpool. She was like, this movie's good. But there's other movies, most of the superhero movies that I've seen with her, with the exception, I think, of like, maybe Spider-Man. She really liked Spider-Man. Most of them come off as mid to her. Like 7s. And so that's the people that are causing the money to go down, because the hardcore fans are going to pull up. If you love Superman, you're going to go see Superman. If you love Spider-Man, you're going to go see Spider-Man. If you love Batman, you're going to go see Batman. If you're like this on them, that movie better be amazing, dog. You better have all the CGI. You better have all the explosions. You better have a fantastic story, because that's the only way you're going to lock them in, the casuals. Because a part of it, too, another phenomenon that's happening in the box office is the reviews. Like a movie like Sinners, for example, ended up making $350 million in the theater because of the fact that the hype and the reviews of it kept the momentum going. So that first week, when that movie drops, if people say that your movie is good, it will go. Like right now, the number one movie in America is Weapons. And people are saying, oh, it's so good, it's so good. That movie's going to go. It's going to do some numbers because people say that it's good. Like, people's opinions matter way more now than pretty much ever before, to where it's like Rotten Tomato scores can tank your movie. If people are just like, hey, this movie's trash, then people ain't seen it. And that's why Superman didn't crack 800 billion. And people were arguing with me on my fucking threads like, oh, you're a Snyder bro, and oh, you're a hater. Why do you hate Superman? It's like, I don't hate Superman, bro. Here's the thing. Like, I understand how this shit works. I literally went to film school. I have a movie out right now on Tubi. And the thing about it is that if people don't fuck with the movie, then the movie won't sell. If the movie's really good, if it's funny, if it has great action sequences, if it has that moment, if it has that drama and the story is solid, it will go. You've seen it happen time and time again. But the thing about Superman in particular is that, and I think this is, I go back and forth on this as I talk about this out loud, but James Gunn made a very bold decision to be like, let's start this movie 3 years in. Because of the fact that when you watch this movie with that in mind, some of the things don't quite make sense. For example, spoiler, when Lex and Superman meet, that's the first fucking time they've ever met. Ever, according to them in the movie. 3 years in, Lex Luthor has a clone of him. He's one of the most famous people on the planet. You mean to tell me that Superman and Lex Luthor never met face to face ever over 3 years until this movie? Cap. That's cap. And so it's small things like that where it's like, you took a big risk doing the 3 year thing because you have to do the work on the 3 years. What happened during those 3 years? The movie starts at the end of a conflict. It literally starts with Superman crashing in the fucking ground, bloodied and beat up. And so it's like, the world building is interesting because you already have the Justice Gang and you already have all this things going on. There's a lot moving, a lot going on. And so it's interesting because it's like, I like what you're trying to do because origin stories are played for sure. Like, we don't need to see Superman leave Krypton. We don't need to see him getting raised on the farm. We don't need any of that shit. So I feel that. But you starting 3 years later It's like it's a little bit overkill. Like we need to get somewhere in the middle. Like maybe a year in. I don't know. That really bothered me because it just messed up my worldview of the movie in terms of like when I was watching it, I was thinking about, okay, so they've been around for 3 years. Justice Gang, when were they formed? Why wasn't Superman invited? Was he kicked out? There's just so many questions. And I'm hoping that they'll go back and answer them. I do trust James Gunn's pen to go back and answer those questions. So like I'm not like tripping about that part. I'm just mostly tripping about the idea that like some things just don't make sense with the world that was built. But with that said, I don't think superhero movies are cooked, but I do think that we might need to take a break after after Secret Wars. And by then, we should be pretty deep into the DC universe. Because I think, Secret Wars comes out 4 years from now? I think it comes out 28. I think. I'll look it up. But Secret Wars is coming out. And once we drop Secret Wars and they end this damn MCU universe as we know it, we need to stop doing all Marvel movies and TV shows for 2 years. 2 years, at least. 2 years, just stop it. Let that shit breathe. You go cast the X-Men, you go recast everybody, and you bring that shit back slowly. Meanwhile, let the DC cook. They'll be cooking. Hopefully by that point in time, we'll have Superman 3. You'll have all kinds of dope shit popping off. And that would probably be the best route for you that you could take. That would be like letting the Marvel kind of reboot. Because Marvel's kind of cooked right now. All these timelines that they built and all these storylines that they built, it's very possible to stick the landing, but I'm not sure if they will. Honestly, not sure if they will stick this landing. It'll be a very crazy ending if they manage to do that. It's going to come off mid. We'll see. But, I don't know, man. Superhero movies, they got to figure something out. I think it just comes down to better storytelling. Because I think Superman, which is going to end up being the most successful movie of the year, at least in the superhero sense, has a good story, and that shows based off the box office sales. But there's a bit of fatigue there when you're trying to like explain things to people, but then you also don't want to go too far ahead because you have to get the casuals involved. Like if I brought my wife to go see Superman and she started asking me questions, I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm saying, I have no idea. We're in this journey together, and maybe that's part of it is like being able to be like, oh, we're in this journey together. But a large part of it too is just like I want to be able to like be like, well, that's so and so, and that's so and so, and that's why that's that way. You know what I'm saying, but we'll see. Anyways, keeping it moving. We got one more topic to talk about. We need to talk about Drake, bro. Drake, and I could talk about this topic all day. Matter of fact, we might make another video about this at some point in time. But your man's is wildin'. And when I say y'all's mans, I'm talking about you Drake fans out there that be clapping at me on threads. Your man's is wildin'. He's wildin'. And it's crazy because when I was going through my Facebook memories, I saw the video for Cry Now, Laugh Later. And I watched that video and I'm like, that version of Drake is a Drake that we need. We need the Drake that is willing to take a joke. We need the Drake that's willing to like laugh at himself. We need the Drake that's willing to just like let kind of shit slide and like kind of treat everything like a journey versus a challenge. Because right now Drake's treating everything like a challenge. Right now he's doing this lawsuit thing that just picked up a lot because now he's asking for all these old documents and trying to reveal the whole domestic lawsuit with Kendrick and his wife allegedly. Dave Freeze involved. None of this really has to do with the lawsuit, but it's all documents that are being brought up that Drake's using to continue his journey. Because right now Drake's petty as fuck right now. He's on this weird revenge, petty, bitter saltiness streak that's, in my opinion, is just leaving a bad taste. Like if he came out with something like Cry Now, Laugh Later, or even like Hotline Bling, and did something that was like, you know, lighthearted, poke a little fun at yourself, keep it moving, he would be recovering so much better. But right now, every move that he makes feels like he's just in the shadow of this beef with Kendrick. Every single move, from his Iceman rollout, all this stuff, it's like, bro, he is in your head, dude. He is in your head. And if you really claim to be the goat that you were, you would just let it slide. I think about the Jay-Z and Nas beef, right? Going back to Jay-Z and Nas beef. When Nas dropped Ether, yes, Jay-Z did kind of respond, but like, kind of didn't. if I recall correctly, he dropped Blueprint 2 on the Blueprint 2, which was a diss in response to Ikner. And no one cared. And Jay-Z was like, okay, no one cared. And he just kept it moving. And then he ended up being president of Def Jam. And he ended up signing Nas. And then they worked together on the song. So it's like, in the war, Jay-Z kind of won. Well, maybe. Because at this point, Nas is doing some crazy shit right now that's like actually pretty incredible for hip-hop that Jay-Z hasn't done. And what I mean by that is that, like, if you look at the mass appeal run right now, where they're dropping albums like Slick Rick, Ghostface, Raekwon, who else is on there? A few others, Nas. There's a few other people too, but he's just doing this super classic hip hop run. Keep in mind that this dude dropped 6 albums. Keep in mind that he's now officially a billionaire thanks to his Coinbase deal and a couple other deals. So like he pretty much is on the same level as Jay-Z at this point. He's running a very solid record label. He has as much influence right now. And he's still active. Jay-Z hasn't dropped the album in 10 years. But, sorry, that's a tangent. I'm going on a tangent. My point is that up to a certain point, even though Nas dropped Ikner and changed hip-hop forever by dissing Jay-Z, Jay-Z still ended up winning the war psychologically when he ended up getting the Def Jam president deal, signing Nas, and giving him an album. Now, that's basically what Drake needs to do. He needs to move more like a boss, man. Like, right now, he's kind of moving like a bitch. Sorry, Drake, don't fight me, but the moves that you're making don't necessarily like make sense in terms of someone who's supposedly over the beef. Like your single, "What Did I Miss?" Bro, you missed quite a bit apparently because your ass was getting mopped up all over the fucking place last year. Now, keep in mind, and I've said this publicly, I think that Family Matters is actually the best diss track out of that whole series of songs. For me, it's like Family Matters, Euphoria, Not Like Us, the Drop 'em one from Push Ups. But Family Matters is incredible, dog. Family Matters is some of the best rapping that Drake has ever done. And the production is incredible. It's some of the best work he's ever done. I love that track. So it's not like Drake got his ass mopped up. Drake held his own against Kendrick. Kendrick was just a little bit more strategic about his rollout and how he managed to make that shit work. He used Drake's strategy against him, and that's what gave him the advantage. It's a timing thing. Like if Kendrick dropped Not Like Us as the first song in the beef, this would be a whole different beef, right? It wasn't necessarily the song, it was how he did it. And he took the playbook from Drake. So that's the crazy part about it. But my point is that Drake didn't, he could be spinning this beef into like something that's a little bit more positive and a little bit more like nonchalant, but he's looking like he's really hurt and butthurt and sad about it, but also pretending that he's not butthurt and sad about it. And it just doesn't resonate for me. Like, you're losing cool points, man. Figure that shit out. Figure it out, bro. You know what I mean? Anyways, this is a good place to stop. We're at the 40-minute mark. I was trying to keep it under an hour. I got so much to say, but I appreciate you guys watching the Jaron Ikner Show. If you guys are watching this, whether it's the replay or live, please like, follow, share. We're going live on Twitch. We're going live on Facebook when it's up and running, and we go live on YouTube. And then I take the replay of this. I do little fancy edits. Sometimes I didn't edit the last one because it was an hour long, and I posted on my other page at Jaron Ikner on YouTube, which is my more like refined page. But you can catch the replay on Starstruck TV, all that crap. Also, new single Hot Summer Cold Heart is out now. It's doing pretty well, man. I'm pretty excited about the turnout and the feedback from that. So make sure you go bump that. And yeah, I think I'm done. I'll see you guys hopefully next week. Your boy Jaron is out.
Yeah, Star Struck. We gon' heat it up. We gon' heat it up. We gon' heat it up. Now I'm walking down this hot concrete, looking for respect. Sun on my neck, trying to catch another check. Now I'm working through this hot summer with the cold heart. Working through this hot summer with the cold heart. Working through this hot summer with the cold heart. Working through this hot summer, yeah. Burning up my feet to the beat when we